So we're looking to work together.
Unreal.
So I'm building these relationships as I go, and it's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, starting a new business from nothing is one of the hardest things.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. So it's a couple of questions come from this part. So where do you see this for the transition piece that we're doing here? A question that I'm going to ask is, so how long have you been out of the Navy to get to here? But before I ask that, where do you see this business and where do you see yourself in 5 more years?
Yep.
So let's start with that one first. So you've gone through this whole process, the years that you've been out of the Navy, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, for the guys that have gotten out of the military recently, it doesn't happen tomorrow. You don't all of a sudden go, oh shit, I'm out and I've landed in a career and I've landed in a relationship and everything's fucking sweet.
Nope.
It takes time. So one is, where are you going to be in 5 years?
So where I'm going to be in 5 years is with a credible, reputable, worldwide known company.
Good.
So
okay.
It's taken me 5 years to get to this point. And
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
Good. So 5 years to now.
5 years till now. And that's been ups and downs. It's been through a lot of pain, a lot of pain of what the fuck am I going to do? Like how am I going to make a good career for myself and to get to my why? So.
Welcome, listeners. We're here at the White Horse Studios in Burleigh once again from Navy ships to property tips. My name's Shane Robson. I'm the principal and founder of Robson and Robson Property. I'm here with a special guest today, Benjamin Donhardt. Say hi, Benji.
How you going, guys?
What I thought, as you guys know, I'm passionate about helping military personnel transition out of the military and have a go in the private sector. Something we do at Robson Property is help them with acquiring assets to build towards their future. It's been in the press a lot lately. It's been all over social media. A lot of guys are struggling with transitions, getting out of the military. So I thought I'd do a sub-branch of my Robson and Robson from Navy Ships to Property Tips podcast, and it's called Marching Out. So every 4 or 5 weeks, I'm going to bring in a mate of mine or a guy I've heard who's got a great story of transitioning from the military, getting out into the private sector and having a crack out here. So I thought, Benji's an old friend. I know he's doing really well in the private sector, and I know his story. I know that it was a bit of a struggle, like it was with myself and everyone else that I know, getting out of the military and getting into the private sector. So, Benji, once again, welcome, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate. It's good to see you. It was about 3 years ago now, or 2 years ago now. I was sitting at the Islander Hotel up here in Surfers Paradise, having a lunch with Rebecca, and I saw off in the distance some dude wearing an F45 singlet come walking down the street, and I go, I know those tattoos. That's Benji. So I yelled out to you, and we've been kicking around ever since. So, mate, let's start from the start. Who are you? Where are you from?
Okay, so Benji Donhardt.
Yep.
All right, so I grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney.
Yeah.
As a young fella, I struggled a lot through school. I struggled a lot. I came from a very, very broken family.
Yeah, man.
Went through a lot of pain when I was a young guy, especially with domestic violence, with everything that happened in my younger years of figuring out who I was, which I found obviously quite difficult. So I was never ever academic at school.
Sure.
I really, really struggled with all that. That led me to obviously leaving school at 16 years of age. So I left school and started a stonemasonry apprenticeship. Okay. So that's all I knew. I thought growing up in the western suburbs and that's what the thing to do was. I wasn't good at school. I wasn't academic. So that was
Get a trade.
Get a trade, exactly right. So
yeah.
my best mate's dad, I did a week's work experience with him as a stonemason. I loved it. Applied for a job with the government. So it was a government apprenticeship. And I still remember the day actually when I found out that I got the job. Yeah, it was the happiest I'd ever been.
Good.
I was accepted into that workforce as a man, but also being accepted into that workforce at 16 years old being expected to act like a man and behave like a man, I found was quite challenging looking back. Sure. If that makes sense.
I look back to when I was 16, mate. I was still trying to figure out whether the doors opened inward or outward. You know, at that age, I was still living in a bubble, as we all were. So, how'd you go with your apprenticeship? Did you stick it out?
Yeah, so apprenticeship, I stuck it out. It was, again, quite challenging. Obviously, having to behave like a man and have expectations of a man at 16 years old when you're really only a child. So,
sure.
A lot of kids nowadays are at school till they're 21.
That's right.
Then they go to uni, then they're still living at home. And basically, I stuck it out. I moved out of home when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
That was the first time I moved out. I got away from the western suburbs. I moved down to Manly.
Okay. God's country.
Stayed down there. I needed to be near the beach. I knew that I needed to leave that area.
Sure.
Obviously, a lot of reasons.
Yep.
Some people I know still live there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
But I knew there was more out in the world for me.
Sure.
So I moved down there and I stuck out and probably another 4 years. So 8 years I was a stonemason for.
Yep. Okay.
From there, that led me to the military.
Right. So unlike a lot of young guys, you had some life experience.
A lot of I was 24 years old or 23 years old when I registered to join the Navy.
Okay.
And I still remember the call. I got a call to go in early.
Yep.
So, I really didn't like being a stonemason anymore.
Yep.
I didn't like the pressure it gave. I didn't like any of that.
Yep.
And the expectations and that sort of whole tradie mentality.
Yep.
Of you've got to suck it up and you just got to be a man.
Sure.
You can't show any feeling or
sure.
you're going through something rough in life, which I constantly go through.
Yep.
And I did especially when I was younger.
Yep.
So I applied for the military because I wanted a challenge. I wanted to push my mind. And I remember sitting with my best mate, Bodie Smith.
Yep.
And watching the diving. What was it? It was on SBS or ABC, and it was a whole thing of clearance divers.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get in there and try it because I knew I was fit anyway. I've always been into fitness my whole life. And I just wanted to challenge myself and challenge my mind and body and see how far I could really, really push.
Yep.
And something completely different to being a tradie, obviously.
Sure.
So I applied and got in, and I enlisted in January 19th, 2009.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's when I enlisted.
It's funny that you say, or it's not funny at all actually, but it's something that we're going to bring up later on through this podcast series is it's not just military guys that have trouble with, expectations of being a man, of being a father, showing weakness, in the military, across the whole military. And it's for the females in the military as well, showing emotion, that's weakness in some instances, and that's not the game that we're in. We're warriors, and we've been trained to do these sort of things. And it's interesting you said that's the same way across a lot of different industries and pretty much everywhere. Culture, it's like you can't show your weakness if there's something wrong. A lot of people don't want to know about it. So that's interesting. So we've joined the military. We're at recruit school. How did you go? At recruit school?
So I went in with the expectations of what I thought it was going to be.
The hardcore.
And once I got there,
it wasn't.
It wasn't. I realised how much more advanced with the life experience. Obviously, I actually was, and I do have my apprenticeship and being around all those men at such a young age.
Yep.
That really did help me through there. So I got in, and it was hard. It was obviously being away from your family, your loved ones. Had a partner at the time I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously all that emotion that you're going through, and then you're thrown into the deep end, something completely that you're not used to. It was very challenging. But at the same time, I felt like I was ahead of other people, like obviously younger guys that had no life experience, that didn't know what to expect, that didn't ever do their own washing and didn't know how to make their own bed. I was forced to because I was
one of them.
I was out of home at 18 years old. So,
yeah, right.
So
actually, I wasn't one of them. I joined at 21 as well. Did you change after recruit school? Did you find that there was a fundamental shift? Really or not really?
Yes, I do find that because I actually got sportsman of the intake.
Okay.
So I did that. I was heavily dedicated. From the moment I joined, I wanted to become a clearance diver. That's exactly what I knew. What I wanted to do. I wanted to get there. So I was up. I put a chit in to train with the clearance divers in recruit school every morning. So I was allowed that. I had a good relationship with the PDIs. I had a good relationship with my leader, Mike Kellick. So they would let me do that, and I'd get up earlier so I did feel like a change in self-belief, a lot of self-belief. And that was the start of, I think, the challenge inside my own head of, can I do this? I still remember my mate sitting on the couch saying, you think you can do that? I'm like, I know I can fucking do it. Definitely do it.
And so then part of your, a big thing that I talk about with transitions is when guys get out, the identity and the purpose that you gain when joining the military, you become a specialist at something, whether it's a stoker or an engineer or a diver or whatever your job is. You become really, really good at that. You train to within an inch of your life, and that starts at recruit school. Then you go through category training, and then you on the job training with exercises. You're constantly reaffirmed by your mates. You're working in a team. You're doing a good job. You're respected because you're good at it. Your bosses are telling you you're doing a good job. Your bosses are kicking your ass if you do a shit job. There's constant, you know who you are and you know where you sit in the pecking order in the military. And we'll get to this later, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is this all starts at recruit school. You're now a military person, you accept it and you crack on with it and you do it, and all of a sudden you are something. You're something in this world that's different to everyone else, and everyone gives you the reaffirmation of you doing this job. So it's an interesting point that you brought up. That's like, yeah, I did it and I wanted it and then I became it. And that can be a problem transitioning out of it, but we'll get to that in a minute. So you did recruit school. What happened next?
So recruit school, obviously I went as an bosun.
Yep.
When I wanted to go as a clearance diver.
Yep.
The, what are they called?
Recruiters.
The recruiters, that's it. So they told me I could, once I'm there, transfer, put your chit in, you'll be sweet to go.
Yep.
So I started that from, I think the first week I was there, I put my chit in and want to change to a clearance diver.
Yep.
I got told no.
Yep.
And then the second week...
The recruiters lied to you? No. Never heard of that before.
Then again, the second week...
Just sign up, mate. You'll be right. You'll get whatever you want. So just join up.
The third week, I put a chit in to change. I kept hassling and kept pushing and pushing. I kept getting told no. I kept pushing through. Got sportsman with the intake, as I said before. Then obviously started category training. Through the category training, put in my 100% effort with everything I put in. Obviously, being young, you would still go out on weekends and have fun with the boys, and if you got leave, that is.
Yep.
You obviously get up to things. I mean, you do. It's a lot of fun.
I'm just going to smile at that one. Yeah, we got up to some mischief.
At the same time, I was 100% focused, and I knew where I wanted to get to.
Yeah, of course, at work.
So obviously, category training was quite tough as well. Being down in Cerberus, very, very isolated.
Yep.
They obviously do it for a reason.
Yep.
To keep you focused, to keep you away from all the distractions. And then, obviously category training ended and I got posted to Sydney.
Joined the fleet?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
We actually went into straight into FSU. At the time, there was no spots on any of the ships.
Sure.
So we went straight into FSU.
Basically, that's FEMA out there for all you old guys like me.
Basically, you just get thrown in there and given a really, really terrible job to do just to kill time.
Yep. Sweep the floors. Already swept them, Chief. Sweep them again.
Exactly, yeah. So that sort of thing. And that started having me questioning why I joined. Then I would always come back to my why I wanted to join, which was to prove to myself that I could make this clearance dive, could make even at least CDAT, which is obviously the acceptance course, which I said I could do. Sure. I did want to do. Okay. So from there, our whole intake got asked or got told they had to go down to Canberra. I didn't want to go down to Canberra. I had a place in Sydney that I already got, and I wanted to stay there for an opportunity to keep going into the dive range, to keep training, to keep working on my goal. Sure. So I got granted that, which was really good. I had a really good relationship with the woe there. Okay. Woe Strawbridge, I think it was. Oh yeah. He was great, really, really good, and he understood what I wanted to do. So I obviously got let to stay, and I trained. Then I got posted to my first ship, which was HMA Success. That was in March, I'm sure, 2010. Okay. Obviously got put on that, did my first tour, so went away. It was went up to Singapore, put in a lot of fun. Singapore. Put in a chip to leave the ship early because there was a ship's divers course that I wanted to do because I knew that was the next step into getting onto. I built a great relationship with my one of the officers. What was his name? I can't remember his name. But yeah, built a good relationship with him, and he put in. Spoke to the chaplain, and me and Jesse Reinhard, one of my other co-workers, got to go and. Good. We left Townsville.
Good. Get out of Townsville.
We left out. We got
terrible town full of army. Jokes, boys.
We left and got out of there, and got on my ship's divers course.
Good. 3 weeks.
Yeah, through 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. And how'd you find that?
Yeah, it was great. Very, very challenging. First time I'd ever dived. Never dived before in my life.
Yeah, right.
Ever.
Okay.
I still remember going down the first time, and I freaked out and come straight back up. And they said, "Oh, you can't do it." I said, "Just give me another chance." So went down, being obviously very strong-minded like I am. I went back down again and done it, completed it, awesome, on the course. Good. On the course, I passed the course.
Enjoyed it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
It's a good course.
I knew that's where I wanted to be.
Okay.
I knew that's what I wanted to do. Very, very challenging at the same time. Obviously never have dived before. Sure. Very, very challenging, but the fitness, so everything about it I loved. Yeah. It's exactly what I imagined it to be, and that's what I imagine the military to be like that sort of stuff.
I remember when I did ship's divers on day 2, they put us underneath HMA Success at Fleece Base East on a half necklace. you'd been diving for a day and a half, and all of a sudden you're underneath a ship in the harbour at night, and it was freaky.
Yeah, very freaky.
Good. So you passed ship's divers.
Yeah, passed
Moved
ship's
back
divers.
went back to your ship.
No, so on the ship's divers, they did obviously the military. It's being everything's a competition, being as this and that. They are doing a chin-up competition at the end of it. So we're doing a chin-up competition, and me being obviously a fleetie, as they would call them, and not a baby diver.
Grey Navy.
Yeah.
You're from the Grey Navy, yeah.
Not a baby diver. I was, you sort of looked at, you feel like an outsider. And
Okay.
I'll touch on this later. That also stems back to my younger days.
Okay.
Of always feeling like an outsider and feeling different and not feeling accepted. But obviously, so I jumped up there. I was the second last one to get up there, and I punched out 34 chin-ups.
Yeah, wow.
So that was more than any of the baby divers.
Yeah.
And I still remember Woe Darcy came up to me after it. He'd seen it. He was watching. He's like, shit, this guy is serious.
Yep.
He's real. He wants to do this.
Sure.
So that's what I envisioned he sort of thought.
Yeah.
So he came up to me and said, we've got a spot and seat at 2 weeks. Are you ready? And I said, well, I haven't done much training, but yes, throw me on it.
Yep.
And I remember leaving that day, and I had that chance. So for 2 weeks, I ran to and from Neutral Bay, straight into the Garden Island every day.
Okay.
Ran there, ran back with a 10-kilo pack on.
Yeah,
every
nice.
single day to train, because I knew I didn't have much training. I was at sea.
Yeah.
I got off the ship in 2 weeks, and then I was on straight onto ship's divers 2 weeks. There's not much, there's a bit of physical training, but it's more focused on purely diving.
Sure.
So then I just trained my ass off for that.
Yep.
Then see that come along again. That fleetie's here. Who's this fleetie?
Yeah.
Bang! It's everything I did in that CDAT. I did to the best I could do. At the end of it, I got an A pass.
Yep.
So I passed to the highest colours. To be told then that you have to wait. You can't go straight onto course. So that
Because they had baby divers to put through first.
Exactly right. The baby divers get that preference.
These are guys, for those of you at home, these are guys that joined the Navy to be specifically a clearance diver. So they've come from the street, and they've got preference to go straight in because they haven't got another job to go back to like you do. So they get cycled straight through. Okay.
Exactly right.
So what happened then?
So then, obviously, coming off a high of getting an A+ pass and really, really just on the biggest high I could be on. But then having to counteract and having to fight it in my mind that to be told no, you have to wait. You have to go back to your ship. You have to put it in. And I still remember my petty officer. He said, "You know this how hard CDAT is. You know you're probably not going to get on." Just all these negative thoughts in my head. So I had a high battling with this: can I get on? Am I going to get on? Am I going to get on? So a course became available. I went back to my ship for a couple of months. Course became available, and there was a spot on for me. But I asked the ship. I spoke to my petty officer, divisional officer, everything, and I was told I'm needed at sea. I'm needed at sea, and yes, I fought back, and yes, I
request forms going out left, right, and centre.
I did a few things. I spoke to the petty officer probably the way I shouldn't have. Being in the military is a chain of command that you have to abide by. And you can't talk. I was so frustrated that I put in so much effort to get there. Sportsman the intake, did everything I could at recruit school to be at the top of my game. Then left and did the ship's diver. Then obviously I wasn't allowed on that course, and from there I went to sea. So this course started, and that's what I thought was my chance. Gone, completely gone.
So was that the turning point? You realised then that maybe transitioning out of the military was for you, or was there more to it?
No, there's still more to it. I went away and I was put in as basically the dish pig for that trip. And I was washing dishes for that trip.
You were leading hand of the mess, or whatever it is, cafe party.
Yeah, cafe party. So going through what I went through in CDAT and all the pain, and if anyone has done CDAT before, you know how fucking hard it is. And it is 10 days of absolute hell. Like it is, there's some of the stuff you do in it, it's not normal. I mean, if anyone's seen it on the outside, they go, how are they allowed to do that to these people?
Yeah, right.
It's just full on. And with 2 weeks preparation, for me, that was such a big... Well, yes, just such a big commit to completion. To complete something like that was great.
Yeah.
So then I went to sea, did that, did what I was supposed to do, followed yes sir, no sir, did that, everything like that. Then when I came back, I got asked, the ship was going into refit in, where was it, in Singapore. So it was either Singapore or Sydney. I was in a relationship at the time, and I had this really big goal of obviously doing the divers, wanted to get in there, so I put in a chit to go and do work experience with the clearance divers.
Sure.
So I got that approved, which was great. So I went for 3 months while the ship was in refit and did work experience there. Obviously, work experience is doing a few things here and there. You PT, this and that. Basically, a shit kicker for them.
Yep.
And obviously, already passed CDAT, already just wanted to be there, so I needed to be around that.
Yep.
When
It's probably a good option to immerse yourself in the culture and everything and be part of it. Yep.
So I was there, did all that. Then from there, I got asked to go to Darwin. So on TSE. So obviously when, Op Resolute.
Yep.
Going up there for TSE, doing all that sort of stuff. And then when I was up there, another seat that was coming up. So I wanted to get into it. I put a chit in for it. Oh, we don't know if we can let you go. We need you up there.
Yeah, sure.
There's hundreds of bosuns sitting at Fleet FSU.
Yeah.
Sitting there saying, I can't do this because I'm on shit.
Chitters.
Chitters this, chitters that.
Chitters.
So then I was shuffled up there. So I went up there, and that was all because some of the baby divers didn't want to go.
Right.
They
Okay.
didn't want to go to TSE. So then I put my hand up to go. So I'll do the right thing, get up there, put in some more time, show that I'm committed to do it. More naval experience at the same time is the way I looked at it as well. Like doing an operation like that was very tough.
Yep.
Training what I could. Some day, like if we were on a patrol boat, you can't really train for a CDAT on a patrol boat.
No, of course you can't.
But anyway, I got it approved so I could come back to that CDAT, and I did the CDAT again.
Second CDAT.
Second CDAT.
You're
so
mad.
Right. So 2 CDATs. Obviously, the training was nowhere near it was for the first time. I was on a ship. We were on operation. There was not much training happening.
Yep.
So I still came back and did it, completed it, finished it. They didn't pass me. They said, we want you to come back again.
For a third time.
We want you to come back again.
Right.
So I'd showed so much commitment through everything, and I get it. Like I did struggle through that CDAT, like mentally and physically. Definitely physically, because I didn't have the training, like the running.
Sure.
The running, they run,
Sure.
Constant running. So I didn't have so much of that training on that second one, which basically, it affected that CDAT.
Yeah, right. So what I'm getting from this story is you've committed 100% to everything.
Yeah.
You've done it and you've done it and you've done it again. And then you didn't get the end result, which you probably deserved, which you did deserve. So that was the turning point. Now you're looking for something else. You realise that
I still wanted to push through. I was a mess. I broke down. I was like, how can I do much more from this to prove to these people that I'm a transfer of category that is willing to give more years of my life to the service if you let me into this course.
Yeah, sure.
I want to get on this to prove myself. If I can have training, to be around that. And also coming as a fleetie into the course and coming into that, you are looked on as an outsider because it is a competition. Like say 25 start, only 10 or 8 might finish. So you were in competition with these people. So they don't really they always talk about mateship and teamship, but they don't really want to help you.
it's not a team sport.
They want they want that position.
Of course.
2 of the baby divers on that course, as I found out as the year went on, pulled out because they're 18 years old. They didn't really want to do it. Oh, we don't want to do it anymore. So then I seen that and I just seen everything wrong with the whole process. So giving preference to those baby divers, in my eyes and a lot of other people's eyes, wouldn't you give preference to someone that's done service, that's been to sea, obviously, done all this, done an operation and given 4 years of their life to the service to be rewarded with, we want to put you on the course.
It does. It makes sense to me. All right. So here we are.
Yep.
At this point in your life, this is when the change came. You decided to transition out of the military.
It started, yeah. So after that, then I went back to the, as a bosun at the dive team I was, just in the bosun office. From there, I got told I've got 2 weeks and I've got to be down in Jervis Bay at the firefighting unit.
Yeah, right. HMAS Creswell.
Yeah, HMAS Creswell, that's it. So I lived on base down there. Again, I was in a relationship. I was still with my girlfriend. Yep. That put a big strain on it.
Of course it did.
Obviously, as any sort of relationship in the military, it has a lot of strain. So basically went down there and I really didn't enjoy it because I knew where I wanted to be and it wasn't helping me any. I couldn't, I wasn't working towards my goal.
Sure.
So that led me to, that's where the shift started changing. I'm like, I think I need to get out. I started looking. I enrolled in a PT course, so Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. I paid for that and then started doing that while I was in the military.
So let me go back. When you realised that the military may not be for you anymore, although it was all you wanted, it's all you did, apart from the apprenticeship and the trade that you were in before, you had no real experience in any other industries. Knowing that this wasn't for you and it's either going to be, a career path that you stick in because your bosses tell you that you have to, or that they tell you that there's no work to get outside. How did that make you feel when you realised that I need to come up with a plan now to get out?
It was similar to when I was a tradie. So that shift I felt inside me, especially when I enrolled in the course. I enrolled in something I started, like I was really good at it. I've been around fitness my whole life. I've been in gyms my whole life. I've studied fitness for years and years, just looking at different workout programs. So when I started doing it, I felt like I was accomplishing something again, like working towards a different goal.
Okay. So you didn't feel daunted by it? You felt challenged?
I felt, again, that challenge came up for me because I'm very challenge driven. I know if I put my mind to something, what I can achieve.
Okay.
Same as in recruit school, getting that sportsman in the intake. Same as doing that seat out and getting an A+ for the first time.
Yeah. Okay.
On the ship's diver. I had that mindset. So
mindset. Good word. Mindset.
So I started working towards the PT, and then as I was working in that PT course, I started training people just here and there, not for money, just helping people out in the military that wanted to better their fitness.
Sure.
Or even if they had problems, I started talking to them, which then I started to realise how good I can connect with people, how good, like, the empathy I have towards people, which I've always had. I've always been that sort of person, especially as a young fella. I've always been told I always can communicate with anybody, especially older people. I've always been able to communicate with older people, people that are older than me.
Sure.
So that basically I started training people, and that's when I really felt a shift. And I'm like, I need to get out. The military had served its purpose. It was great, and I'm so glad I did it because it instilled disciplines inside of me.
Sure.
That especially that mindset that no matter what happens and what life throws at me, I can keep pushing forward and keep working towards a goal.
Cool.
The goal may not work out the way you think it is, like anything in life. The way you think something's going to go, it can completely do a 180 and flip, and you throw you on your head.
Sure.
And then you have to come up with, all right, what's the next plan?
So what's the next plan? So this is something that I touch on with my guys. I had a different story to yours, but it was basically I joined the fleet after being at the dive school as the recompression chamber maintainer. So I was in boardies and rarely wore overalls, was training with the boys all the time. I lived the life of an instructor at the dive school as well, even though I was a stoker on the tools. Then I rejoined the fleet on HMAS Parramatta, served another 3 years, but it was when I walked back on the ship, I realised, I'm not sure if I want to be here anymore. So I started studying by correspondence, mortgage broking, financial planning, did my property courses, all those sorts of things over that time. So, I think, so what was your process? You realised, did you start doing PT courses? Did you start training yourself while you were still in the military?
Yeah, that's when I started doing the PT course.
Yeah.
I was enrolled in Cert 3 and 4 and started doing it on weekends, when I got home from work, when I was down in the fire grounds.
Okay.
So when I was at that,
Gotcha.
Doing the fire stuff. So that was my change, and then I started working towards it. And
working towards something else.
Yeah. I got posted out of there back up to Sydney.
Sure.
To another FSU.
Yep.
So when all the ships come in, obviously birthing all the ships. That was where we're at. Again, you're an outsider going into these other people's place, so it's again, you're thrown in there.
Yep.
You're just to fill space because they need people.
Good.
So basically went there and just, like I said, kept studying and again helping people. And then I got a call from one of my good mates that said, I'm opening a gym.
Yep.
I want you to come work in it.
All right, so let's start. This is where it gets good. So you got out of the military. I know that you've been involved with several different businesses. Starting from the top, you got a phone call from your mate.
Yep.
Give us the wrap up. I know that you've been. I'll let you go from here. Go.
So it was, Benny, I'm opening a gym. I want you to come and be head trainer.
Yep.
And I just said, awesome, let's do it. When can we meet? That weekend, went and met up with one of my other good mates now, which I'd never met before, but now he's one of my best mates. We met up and we went through exactly what was going to happen. It was an F-45, and basically that was it. I was like, this is what I want to do. I put my
discharge
shit in. So as soon as I put that discharge in, they did anything to try and keep me.
Yeah.
because I'd never blown over. I'd never had any of those sort of things against me. I was
Yep.
a very, very good sailor.
Blown over, for those guys of you at home, that sounds a bit strange, but we used to get alcohol tested in the morning. And if you blew .02, that was a strike against your name. So you could have driven legally to work, be under .05, but if you get to work and you blow any reading at all, you'd get in trouble and have to go through ADPAR. Unlike Ben, I blew over 4 times, but that's another story altogether. That's my story. So F45, you and your 2 buddies started a studio.
Yeah. So we opened the first studio in Drummoyne.
Okay.
So basically, in that time, I was still in the military. I would go every weekend. I'd drive out to.
So you were still in the military.
Yeah,
this is good stuff. So you were still in the military.
Still in the military.
You've trained yourself in Cert 3 and 4 in being a PT, and you started a business.
So started with, I was a head trainer.
Yeah, while you were still in the military.
So not
amazing.
The head trainer I did when I left the military, but while I was still in the military, I was doing every weekend as a part-time trainer at my mate's gym.
Yep.
So he already had one, and I was just every Saturday I'd go out there and I'd work, and I started learning the skills, learning that transition.
Yeah, so you were transitioning before you were out.
Learning to communicate with civilians and not with military terminology or that sort of stuff. So basically the transition happened about probably 3 months before I left the Navy. So that started happening. I remember October I started. October 2014 I started doing this. Then obviously I left. I started with my mate's dad that I was a stonemason with. I went back and started doing that until the gym opened. So I was working 5 days a week and then working on weekends at the studio as well.
Gotcha.
And then about May 2015, the studio opened. Yep. And that's when I became the head trainer.
Yeah, good.
And transitioned completely.
Transition completely. I mean, that's the key thing. I think I don't want to say anything too bad here, and it may have changed since I got out, but I think the transition course for the military when I got out was a 2-day course. I didn't do it. I saw it as 2 days off. I think I went and sat at North Bondi instead. I just didn't show up for it. I thought they're not going to do anything in 2 days for me. So I think transition comes up to the individual and the mates around you and getting information from the right people in the right places. And transition doesn't happen the day that you get out of the military. You need to lay a foundation, a platform. You need to start studying things like you did, like I did. In my case, years before I got out, I knew that I needed to start acquiring knowledge and building something that I had to go to when I got out. I mean, a lot of guys, and some guys I know got back in the military, they get out and then they retread. We all know the retread story. It's like they didn't set themselves up to transition. They got out and went, shit, it is hard out here because I haven't set myself up to make the move. So good. That's good information. I think there's a lot in that, what you just said there to set yourself up before you get out. So what happened then? Opportunities came up for you through F45.
Yeah. So opportunities started coming up. Like I still remember on my the grand opening day of that first studio, people would come up to me saying, that was amazing. You were an incredible trainer. And that was my first day as the head trainer. Yep. Obviously through my life experience, through the military, through being an apprentice, that all played a big part in it, which I couldn't see then. But now, joining the dots.
From getting trained by military PTs as well?
By getting trained by military PTs, having confidence in, and even in the apprenticeship, sticking it out. So even that, so it all, that's the comments that came through were incredible. And then I found my feet. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Yep. Helping people.
And so you were involved in F45 for how many years? And what did you get up to?
So basically I was there for a year. We were open for a year, and then an opportunity come up to go to the States. So I went to the USA and worked in a couple of studios there. Right. And then came back.
Yeah, good.
That was at a time when I was going through a pretty bad breakup with a 7-year partner.
Okay.
So going through that, and it was, so I came back because I needed to reevaluate.
Sure.
I sat in Sydney and I kept working for F45, 3 studios in Sydney. Okay. Which was really, really good. Obviously going through still transition. Because this transition, I don't think stops straight away. It doesn't change instantly. Correct. You still second guess yourself. You still start thinking, shit, was it a good move that I left the military? And there are parts that I miss. So the camaraderie with the boys, like the camaraderie with your mates, and some of the friendships that you build in there, you still have today. So not having that sort of, you sort of got to try and find that on the outside as well. I did have a good circle of friends on the outside, which was lucky, but still at the same time, you still miss certain things.
That's a massive part of what we talk about. And when I was talking about identity and purpose, like the identity, like I said at the start, comes from this group of mates. Like you know, I work with myself and my partner. Like I used to run around in teams of stokers down in the engine rooms or doing boarding parties or doing whatever we were doing. We were in teams. And there was camaraderie and and even playing sport, Navy sport, you know, being part of a team, playing footy or whatever. So when you come out here, you do lose a lot of that mateship constantly. You still have your mates, but they're at afar now. They're at an arm's reach. So that's a hard part of transition as well, which we're going to get into down the track. So, all right, F45 was great for you, but it wasn't smooth sailing like you just touched on there. You had a bit of self-doubt every now and then. You still second guess, did I make the right decisions? Yep. How did you go with your mental attitude towards that? I mean, everyone gets down on themselves every now and then. How did you find that you overcame those sort of, you know, the things in the back of your head telling you that you're not doing well?
So a lot of self-belief and a lot of self-work, especially when I went through that breakup. I still remember my partner saying, I'm worried about where you're going to be. Yep. So, I still remember her looking at me crying, saying, I'm worried about you, where you're going to be. And she didn't even believe in me of where I wanted to be, because I had dreams to go over to the States. I needed to work over there. I wanted to experience life. I wanted to experience travel and working. Sure. I wanted to do all this. And that did take me back there. So I remember in 2017, I got a call from a group of guys I met. Aussie guys opened a studio in La Jolla.
La Jolla.
Yeah, so it's a lovely place.
Oh, I love San Diego. It's my favourite. We go there all the time.
So that took me there, and I went and I helped them.
What's the name of that restaurant, Beck? George's in La Jolla. Yeah, George's. Amazing. Beautiful place. Oh, we'll have to go there one day.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
So I managed their studio for 3 months.
That would have been an interesting crew.
It was incredible. It was really, really good. And I met so many amazing people. And again, so it took me from, I could be in somewhere completely different in the world, and I connected with everybody in there. I had clients come up to me, and I remember when I left, so when I had to come back home, that people would say, "Hey, you're coming back. When is he coming back?" For months after, still saying, and I still talk to some of those people now. Sure. I'm actually going back there in 2 weeks.
Are you really?
Yeah, going back there in 2 weeks to...
We're going back there in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I want to connect with people.
Going back there to visit some friends and stuff.
Good on you. Unreal.
So that took me there, and then I came back, and I started working in F45 again. For a little bit, and then I came across a sales position with an ex-military mate. Okay. So he had a product that sold fitness equipment. So I did that, and I just jumped into a sales position. Sure. So I knew I wanted to learn more about sales. Okay. So I'd done every aspect in the F45, head trainer, manager, operations, all that sort of stuff. That took me, like I said, to this sales position, and I knew that I wanted to learn. I knew I wanted to keep challenging myself, as I did from masonry to military to the CDAT to the getting into the divers. I knew I had to keep challenging because I'm not the sort of person that can just do the one thing and
too hyper for that.
I'm very, very very hyper and can't sit still. So I need something to challenge myself. So I jumped into it. Sure. I had no idea about sales. I didn't really. Obviously I knew a little bit from F45. Then so I jumped into sales, and I just studied sales. I looked up everything I could on it. Yep. I studied. I did everything I could, like on my own. And then I had a good mentor. So he was the owner of the business, and he helped me in so many ways to do with business and to start learning about that whole side of business that I didn't really know. So I was sales manager, and then we sold the rights in Australia for that equipment. Okay. It took me back to the US again.
Oh, really?
So it took me back to the US to sell the equipment over there. Okay. I remember walking into fitness studios, basically door knocking. Yeah, sure. This is a product, what do you think? Yep. This is a product, what do you think? Yeah. And again, weekends, nights, studying YouTube videos of sales and anything I could learn about it to try and help me and develop me. And I knew I was a good communicator. I knew I could do that. So... And it worked, and I did start selling product, which was really, really good. Sure. And again, that challenge, I started doing something I knew I could do. So then from there, we sold the rights in the US, which brought me back to Australia. Sure. And then I didn't really know what to do then. So what did you do then? So what did I do? I know that you're involved in a new business, and it's your business. Yep. And this is what I love to talk about guys with as well. That hasn't started yet, not just yet. Oh, so can we talk about it or no? Yeah, in a minute. In a minute. Oh, we're not there yet. Not there yet. So it took me back up to Queensland. Went to visited one of my mates. Yep. And I was there for a week and stumbled across a job with F45. And from there, I moved up there.
Yep.
I moved up here.
That's when I saw you walking down the street.
That's exactly when you saw me.
I'm like, what are you doing up here? And it's like, I'm here.
Yeah, that's exactly
right.
right.
I'm going to a job interview tomorrow. I'm like, oh, so you're staying? You're like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. So I managed this studio. I took it. This is where my business started.
Okay.
This is where it started.
Okay.
So this studio was struggling very, very much.
Yep.
I remember still walking in there and there was barbells holding the electric doors up. It was a mess.
Yep.
It was a mess. So I spoke to the owner and everything came to a head. And I took the manager position, and I went in there and cleaned the whole place up.
Yep.
So I built it within 3 months from 100 members to 180 members within 3 months, which was a pretty good thing. I knew that I was good at what I did. I knew I could sell to people. I knew I could sell these gym memberships.
Sure.
I knew I could build that community up, and that's what a boutique fitness studio is. It's all about community and building a community. And I had all the attributes from my life experience to do that.
Sure.
So I did that. In that, again, can't sit still. I met a client, and she'd just come off super yachts, working on them, and I said, "Oh, that'd be awesome. Do they have PTs on super yachts?" And she said, "Yeah, sometimes this job pops up." Anyway, 3 days later, she sends me a link to a job to go and work on super yachts.
You did. You took off. So, I remember going, "Where are you, man?" You sent me a picture of you and your mate on a yacht in Europe somewhere.
Yeah, no. So what happened was, it was a Russian guy.
Yep.
So we had about 3 phone interviews, and then he said, "Yep, I want you to come work with me. I want you to be my family PT."
Some Russian millionaire dude with a super yacht.
Yeah. So he was building his super yacht at the time.
What?
So basically went and took the job, and I left that position.
Yep.
And went because I knew there was something drew me to that. There was going to be experience, and any experience I believe in life is going to teach you any more than any course can do.
Of course.
Experience is really key to, I think, all success. So I didn't know if it was the right decision. I didn't know right then, but something was drawing me to it. So it drew me to it, and obviously when I started, I followed him everywhere. And I was his PT, 20 on call, no matter where we went. I still remember we went to the Philippines, we went to London, we went to Germany, France, Switzerland, through Russia, everywhere. So all these places that I'd never been, I thought, this is incredible. Yeah. Going to these places and training with him, but also building a relationship. He was 61 years old. So building this relationship and with him and his family also served a purpose. Yep. And having him, he's a very, very successful property developer and businessman. So I was watching him, and I'd go to negotiations with him and like certain things like that. So I was watching him. This is where it really, really formed for me to start my own thing. Yep. So I watched him do it. We'd have conversations for hours and talks and all this sort of stuff. So when that came to an end, that contract, I came back to the Gold Coast, and I didn't know where I wanted to live. I was like, I'm going to go back to Sydney. Went back to Sydney, started calling a few jobs, and the money that they were offering was definitely not what I was worth. Sure. So I knew what I wanted, and I thought, stuff this, I'm going to start my own thing. I'm going to start helping studios on my own. Sure. And this is where my business Benefit started.
Business, what's your business called? Benefit.
Benefit Sales Solutions.
Roger.
So then I had my first gym come on board, which was in Runaway Bay.
Yep. So let's go back. What is Benefit Sales Solutions?
So Benefit Sales Solutions is a company focusing on providing solutions to boutique fitness studios. Sure. That are struggling with sales, that don't really understand how a sales process works, and nurturing leads when they come in. So someone registers interest on Facebook or whatever it is, the lead comes through. Yep. My team and me, we manage that from there. Sure. So we support the gym manager or the salesperson that's in that gym, or member care manager. Obviously, when I set up a gym, to have a member care manager, someone that is in charge of the members, that is constantly engaging with them, nurturing that lead, but not just when they first purchase, ongoing. So 3 months into their membership, they know all about this person. So basically my company does that. We nurture the lead, the customer journey, from the moment they register, purchase, do their first class, their second class, and their third class, and then we sell the membership to them.
Nice one.
And that's what we do. So we provide support to the manager to then close. So Lead comes in, benefit, we handle it. We handle it. There's constant engagement with obviously there's a platform I use. So there's a constant engagement with us that both parties know. So I can see it and so can the gym manager can see what's happening. So we act as that gym manager. So if you were the manager of the gym or the running sales, then we would act as you and nurture that lead all the way through.
Sure.
And then when we set the membership form or whatever the offer is, then we let you guys know I do all mine through WhatsApp group.
Sure.
And you can see everything ready to quote. So if you need to call them, then you guys call them or you guys close them in the studio.
Unreal.
Because we've nurtured that lead and built that rapport from the very, very moment that they've purchased.
Unreal.
Or registered interest.
So you're up and you're live now?
Yes, we're up and live now.
Yeah,
yes.
and you've got clients that are engaged with you now?
Yep. We've got clients that are engaged now. It's been another rough journey.
Yeah.
So I got into it. I had another consultant that does similar, but they don't do so much sales. They're more database management, and I got some work from them.
Yep.
Got little bits of work from them, but again, there was just something not right there. I felt like I was controlled too much, and yeah, so there was so I needed to spread my wings. So those clients dropped off, and then I went completely on my own.
Sure.
So now I'm completely on my own and out there building relationships with companies.
Yep.
I built a relationship with a company in New York. I built another relationship with a company in New York and Sydney. So we're looking to work together.
Unreal.
So I'm building these relationships as I go, and it's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, starting a new business from nothing is one of the hardest things.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. So it's a couple of questions come from this part. So where do you see this for the transition piece that we're doing here? A question that I'm going to ask is, so how long have you been out of the Navy to get to here? But before I ask that, where do you see this business and where do you see yourself in 5 more years?
Yep.
So let's start with that one first. So you've gone through this whole process, the years that you've been out of the Navy, and I guess what I'm trying to say is for the guys that have gotten out of the military recently, it doesn't happen tomorrow. You don't all of a sudden go, oh shit, I'm out and I've landed in a career and I've landed in a relationship and everything's fucking sweet.
Nope.
It takes time. So one is, where are you going to be in 5 years?
So where I'm going to be in 5 years is with a credible, reputable, worldwide known company.
Good.
So
okay.
It's taken me 5 years to get to this point. And
that was going to be my next question. Good. So 5 years to now.
5 years till now. And that's been ups and downs. It's been through a lot of pain, a lot of pain of what the fuck am I going to do? Like how am I going to make a good career for myself and to get to my why? So the reason I am doing all this is I want to start a non-for-profit against domestic violence.
Good, okay.
So for domestic violence.
There's a big why.
There's so much of that now that just gets looked over and not enough men are involved in that. So I'm building what I'm doing, my company, to help, obviously, group fitness studios build their community. And I've got all different angles I want to go into. I want to go into big, like Globo gyms. So say your Fitness First, your Virgins. I want to go into all this. I want to go into all that. But then also start this non-for-profit within 5 years. I want it to be started.
Yeah, good. What's Globo Gym? Vipers. Go Vipers.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that there? Yeah, go on.
Exactly. So my why, I guess, is to start this non-for-profit.
Amazing.
As a young man, I went through domestic violence.
Sure.
A lot.
Yeah.
I suffered from it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man, I feel you. That's a great story, and it's unreal to see you doing so well. And it's tough, mate. I think the biggest things that can come out of this is it's taken you 5 years since getting out of the Navy, and it took you time before actually getting out of the Navy and transitioning into it, and you're doing so well now. I can see you getting a bit emotional, man, and I feel you, and it's a good thing.
It's hard.
This is what it's all about. And we spoke at the start, showing your emotions and asking for help. It's one of the main reasons why we're doing this whole thing, man. So I've enjoyed your time being out here, man. I hope you got your story across. For all you guys out there, we're going to have some links on our stuff. We're going to put this across Benny's socials for Benefit, his company as well. And I wish you all the best, man. And it's been great to have you in as a guest.
Excellent.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Mad.